My girlfriend wore a revealing dress to my best friend's Valentine's party and openly flirted with him. I later found them together in our apartment and discovered she had been pursuing him for months, while he was secretly engaged. I never thought I would be writing something like this, but the events of Valentine's Day completely shattered my relationship and exposed a side of my girlfriend that I never knew existed. My girlfriend, Kiara, 25F, and I, 27M, have been together for 3 years now, living together for the past year and a half. Everything seemed perfect, until last night, when she showed her true colors at my best friend's Valentine's Day party. For some background, Kiara and I met through my cousin Lisa at a mutual friend's birthday party 3 years ago. She was working as a marketing executive at a well-known firm, and I had just started my own small tech consulting business. We clicked immediately. She was outgoing and confident, while I was more reserved. She helped me come out of my S, and I helped her become more organized and focused on her career goals. We complemented each other perfectly, or so I thought. Sean, 28 million, has been my best friend since our freshman year of college. We were roommates for 4 years, started our first jobs at the same company, and when I decided to start my own business 2 years ago, he was the one who helped me set everything up. He even invested some of his savings to help me get started. That's the kind of friend he's always been. The problem started yesterday when we were getting ready for Sean's Valentine's Day party. Kiara spent nearly 4 hours getting ready, which was unusual because she typically took a maximum of 45 minutes. When I asked what was taking so long, she snapped at me, saying she wanted to look perfect for the party. I thought maybe she was just stressed about something at work and let it go. When she finally came out of our bedroom, I was shocked. She was wearing this extremely revealing red dress that I had never seen before. It was so short and low that it made me uncomfortable just looking at it. She never dresses like this, usually preferring elegant but modest clothing. When I asked about the dress, she said she bought it, especially for the party, and that I should be happy to have such a hot girlfriend. The drive to Sean's place was tense. She kept checking her makeup in the mirror and fixing her hair, barely saying a word to me. I tried to make conversation, but she just gave me one-word answers. I figured she was still in a mood from earlier and thought it would pass once we got to the party. But things only got worse at Sean's place. The moment we walked in, it was like I ceased to exist. She barely acknowledged my presence and spent the entire evening following Sean around like a lost puppy. She laughed at everything he said, touched his arm constantly, and kept finding excuses to be near him. At first, I tried to ignore it, thinking maybe she was just trying to be friendly with my best friend, but it became more obvious and inappropriate as the night went on. What made it even more awkward was that this was supposed to be a couples party. There were about 8 other couples there, all close friends from college and work. Everyone could see how Kiara was behaving, and I could tell they were uncomfortable. My friend Mark, 27M, even pulled me aside during the party and asked if everything was okay between Kiara and me. He said her behavior seemed off and that his wife was concerned. The breaking point came during dinner. We had a formal sit-down dinner since Sean loves hosting these kinds of events. There were name cards at each place setting with couples seated together, but somehow, Kiara managed to switch the cards around so she could sit next to Sean instead of me. I watched in disbelief as she spent the entire dinner leaning into him, laughing at everything he said, and making suggestive comments about how good he looked in his suit. She even started feeding him bites of her dessert, saying he just had to try it. I could see everyone at the table exchanging uncomfortable glances. Sean tried to handle it gracefully, keeping his responses polite but minimal. But Kiara wasn't taking the hint. She kept getting more and more forward with her flirting. At one point, she spilled her wine deliberately on her dress and asked Sean to help her clean it up in the kitchen. That's when I finally snapped. I followed them to the kitchen and found her pressing herself against him while he was trying to hand her paper towels. I confronted her right there and asked her what she thought she was doing. Instead of being embarrassed or apologetic, she got defensive and aggressive. She started yelling at me, saying I was being controlling and jealous, and that she was just trying to be friendly with my best friend. We got into a huge argument right there in the kitchen. Sean tried to defuse the situation, saying it was all a misunderstanding, but Kiara just got more aggressive. She started screaming about how I was embarrassing her and ruining everyone's evening. By this point, several other guests had gathered near the kitchen, drawn by the commotion. I couldn't take it anymore and said I was leaving. I expected her to come with me, but instead, she said she would find her way back home. She stayed at the party after I left, which was the final insult. She didn't come home that night, texting at 3 a.m. to say she was staying at her friend Amy's place. The next morning, she came home acting like nothing had happened. When I tried to talk about her behavior, she said I was overreacting and that she was just trying to be sociable. She tried to turn it around on me, saying I was being possessive and that she was allowed to talk to other men. I packed a bag and went to stay at my brother's place because I couldn't even look at her. She's been calling and texting nonstop, alternating between angry messages about how I'm being immature and crying voicemails saying she doesn't understand why I'm making such a big deal out of nothing. To make everything worse, she's now posting cryptic messages on social media about relationships and how some men can't handle strong, independent women. Our mutual friends have been texting me all day asking what's going on, But I haven't responded because I don't want to drag anyone else into this mess. I don't know what to do now. We've been together for 3 years, built a life together, and I thought we had a future. But after last night, I don't know if I can trust her anymore. The way she acted wasn't just friendly, it was deliberately provocative and disrespectful. The fact that she can't even acknowledge how inappropriate her behavior was makes it even worse. Part 2. My girlfriend wore a revealing dress to my best friend's Valentine's party and openly flirted with him. I later found them together in our apartment and discovered she had been pursuing him for months while he was secretly engaged. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and everything has gotten so much worse than I could have imagined. After staying at my brother's place for several days, I started feeling guilty about not giving Kiara a chance to explain herself properly. My brother kept telling me I was doing the right thing by keeping my distance, but after 3 years together, I felt she at least deserved a face-to-face conversation. I have been ignoring all her calls and messages. There were over 50 missed calls and probably hundreds of texts, ranging from angry accusations about me being controlling to tearful apologies saying she missed me. She even got her sister to call me, who said Kiara wasn't eating properly and was a mess without me. I almost gave in several times, but the memory of her behavior at the party kept stopping me. After a particularly restless night, I decided to go to our apartment to talk things out. Most of our mutual friends started taking her side. I lost about half of our friend group who believed her stories without even asking for my version. The worst part was when my cousin Lisa, who had introduced us 3 years ago, called me up screaming about how she couldn't believe she had set Kiara up with such a monster. She told me she was blocking me on everything and never wanted to speak to me again. My reputation at work even started suffering because Kiara told Amy, who works at a partner company, that I was emotionally abusive. Word got around in our professional circle, and I could tell some clients were getting uncomfortable working with me. My business started taking a hit, and I was seriously considering getting a lawyer involved. But yesterday, everything changed. Sean finally broke his silence and sent a mass email to our entire friend group, including screenshots of his own. In the email, he revealed that he had been engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Sarah, for the past month. They had been keeping it quiet because they wanted to announce it at a family gathering next week. That wasn't even the biggest revelation. Sean attached screenshots showing that Kiara had been making advances toward him for months before Valentine's Day. She had been sending him flirty messages late at night, always when I was asleep or away. She kept trying to arrange one-on-one meetings with him, saying she needed advice about our relationship but then would try to turn these meetings into dinner dates. Sean had been ignoring or deflecting these attempts out of respect for our friendship. The Valentine's Day party was supposed to be where Sean and Sarah announced their engagement, which is why it was a couple's party. But after all the drama with Kiara, they decided to postpone the announcement. In his email, Sean apologized to me for not coming forward sooner. He said he was trying to handle it quietly to avoid drama, but after seeing how Kiara was destroying my reputation, he couldn't stay quiet anymore. Sarah also added her statement to the email. She had been present during several of Kiara's attempts to meet Sean alone and confirmed that Kiara would get upset when she found out Sarah was there too. She had witnessed Kiara's inappropriate behavior firsthand, but she stayed quiet at Sean's request. After this email went out, my phone started blowing up with messages from friends apologizing to me. They all realized that Kiara had been manipulating everyone. Lisa called me crying, saying she should have known better than to believe Kiara without talking to me first. She had known me her whole life and should have trusted that I wasn't the person Kiara was making me out to be. Amy from work also sent out a company-wide email apologizing for spreading rumors about me, which has helped clear things up professionally. Some clients who had been distant have started reaching out again. I didn't tell her I was coming because I wanted to catch her in a normal setting, not when she was prepared with rehearsed excuses and fake tears. I finished up at work early and headed to the apartment around 7 p.m. As I approached our building, I noticed Sean's car parked outside. My stomach dropped, but I told myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe he came to apologize or to explain his side of things. I still had my key, so I quietly opened the front door. The first thing I noticed was the music playing. It was the same playlist Kiara had made for our first anniversary. Then I heard laughter coming from our living room. I walked in, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Kiara was there with Sean, sitting close together on our couch. They were sharing a bottle of red wine, the expensive one I had been saving for our anniversary. And she was wearing that same red dress from Valentine's Day, the dress that had started this whole mess. They jumped apart when they saw me. Sean immediately stood up, his face pale, and started saying it wasn't what it looked like. Kiara looked shocked for a moment before she started crying. I couldn't hear anything they were saying over the rushing in my ears. The whole scene felt surreal. My girlfriend and my best friend in our apartment with romantic music playing and wine, wearing that red dress. I just turned around and walked out. I could hear Kiara running after me in the hallway, her heels clicking on the floor as she called my name. She caught up to me at the elevator, grabbing my arm and saying she could explain everything through her tears. She said she had invited Sean over to talk about me, to try to get him to convince me to come back home. She said nothing was happening between them, that I had just walked in at the wrong moment. I asked her why she needed to wear that specific dress to have a conversation about me. Why did they need to be drinking wine and listening to romantic music? She started stuttering, saying she just wanted to look nice, and that the wine was just to help them talk more openly. Her excuses made me feel sick. The next morning, my phone exploded with messages from both of them. Kiara sent paragraph after paragraph saying nothing happened between them, that I was being paranoid, and that she would never cheat on me. She said I was ruining our relationship with my jealousy and trust issues. Sean tried calling multiple times, leaving voicemails saying he needed to explain things to me. I blocked both their numbers. I waited until I knew Kiara would be at work and went back to the apartment with my brother to pack up my stuff. I took everything that was mine and left anything I wasn't sure about. I left her a note saying she could keep the apartment since her name was on the lease. I told her not to contact me again because we were done. My brother helped me move my stuff into his spare room permanently. He thinks I'm doing the right thing, especially after seeing how angry I was after finding them together. Some of our mutual friends are saying I should at least hear them out. Mark called me saying I was jumping to conclusions without giving them a chance to explain. Amy, Kiara's best friend, sent me a long message about how I was throwing away a 3-year relationship over a misunderstanding. But what is there to explain? First, she disrespected our relationship in front of everyone at the party. Then, barely 2 weeks later, I found her cozied up with my best friend in our apartment, wearing the same dress she wore when she spent the whole night flirting with him. She can say whatever she wants, but I know what I saw. The image of them sitting together on our couch, sharing wine and laughing, is burned into my brain. Every time I close my eyes, I see it and it makes me feel sick all over again. It's been a month since my last update, and everything has finally come to light most unexpectedly. The past few weeks have been. Kiara started a smear campaign against me that I never saw coming. She told everyone that I was a controlling, jealous boyfriend who monitored her phone and wouldn't let her have male friends. She even went as far as telling people that I had serious anger issues and that she was afraid of me. At first, I thought nobody would believe such obvious lies. I've never been controlling or violent in my life. But Kiara was convincing. She would cry during lunch with our friends, telling them stories about how I would check her phone while she was sleeping and how I would get angry if she even talked to male coworkers. She even showed them edited screenshots of our conversations to make me look bad. Part 3. My girlfriend wore a revealing dress to my best friend's Valentine's party and openly flirted with him. I later found them together in our apartment and discovered she had been pursuing him for months while he was secretly engaged. It's been 2 weeks since Sean's email exposed everything. Yesterday, I was working late at my office trying to catch up on some projects I had fallen behind on during all this drama. At around 6 p.m., my secretary buzzed to say Kiara was in the lobby asking to see me. I was going to have security remove her, but something made me agree to see her one last time. She looked terrible, nothing like the confident woman who had worn that red dress to the party. She broke down crying the moment she walked into my office. Through her tears, she finally admitted everything. She had developed feelings for Sean over the past few months, saying she was attracted to his success and confidence. She thought I was too focused on building my business and wasn't giving her enough attention. She confessed that she had planned everything about Valentine's Day meticulously. She bought the dress specifically because she knew it was the type Sarah usually wore. She had been watching Sarah's social media for months, trying to copy her style to get Sean's attention. The whole evening was orchestrated to make Sean notice her, even down to the wine spill in the kitchen, which she had practiced at home to make it look accidental. When that didn't work, she kept trying, showing up at his office and sending him messages. She said she convinced herself that Sean was just playing hard to get because of me. Finding out about his engagement to Sarah had crushed her, and she lashed out by trying to ruin my reputation. She said she regretted everything and wanted another chance. I listened to her entire confession without interrupting. Then I told her to leave and never contact me again. I had security escort her out and instructed them not to let her in if she showed up again. I also emailed her company's HR department about her of Sean, just in case she tries anything else. Some people, including my parents, think I'm being too harsh. They say everyone deserves a second chance and that Kiara seems genuinely sorry. But I don't care how sorry she is. She didn't just try to cheat on me with my best friend. She tried to destroy my reputation and my business when things didn't go her way. That kind of calculated manipulation isn't something you just forgive. Sean and I have started talking again. While things aren't back to how they were before, we're slowly rebuilding our friendship. I attended his engagement party last weekend. It was awkward at first, but it felt good to be surrounded by people who knew the truth. Sarah even apologized for not telling me about Kiara's behavior sooner, but I told her she had nothing to apologize for. My business is finally getting back on track. Most clients who had pulled away after hearing the rumors have returned, and I've even landed a few new contracts. I've learned to be more careful about keeping my personal and professional lives separate. As for dating, I'm taking a break for now. This whole experience has taught me a lot about trust and how quickly someone can change. Some mutual friends are already trying to set me up with other people, saying I need to move on. But I'm not ready. I need time to focus on myself and my business. The most surprising outcome of all this is that some of Kiara's friends have reached out to warn me that she's been telling people she's going to win me back. I've documented everything and saved all the evidence just in case she tries anything else. I won't let her manipulate me or anyone else ever again.